Hello everybody. Just finished up a unit of Spearmen for my Bretonnian army I've been working on recently. And this was actually part of the Oldhammer painting challenge that was started the beginning of May. And I had to spill into June because I just didn't get enough time to get it done. But that was part of Rusty on Hellcorrex's channel and Palmer on Heresy Productions channel, and there's a group of us guys that all did a few things. But every spring and fall, dig out some old. It can be any old figures, but a lot of times old Warhammer 40K or fantasy figures, and kind of work on that. But this kind of fit right into the project that I've been working on for the last year and a half of painting up a 5th edition Bretonnian army. And so this was the latest thing that I got done. These are all metal miniatures that were sculpted by the Prairie Brothers back in the 90s. And some of these I bought back in the 90s. Some of these I'd kind of picked up between then and now. And so I've got a unit of 20 of them here. And I'm real happy with how they turned out. The color scheme, the yellow and green, is part of the dukedom heraldry that I'm painting these up to be part of in the Bretonnian lore. And real happy with how these guys turned out. A lot of fun. Of the general spearmen, there's I think there's four different poses, and then your command group. So I like the variety it gives, which is kind of nice for especially some of the Oldhammer sculpts were kind of monopose, which is cool too, and I do enjoy that. But I do like the variety too. So that was kind of fun to paint. I'm real happy with how they turned out. I've been trying to take my time with these. I find them it's a little intimidating to paint. Several reasons. It's a project that I've been kind of dreaming about working on for the past 20 years, and I'm finally really getting onto it. And the other reason is since they're discontinued figures, you can, and they're not cheap. You can still find them, but the Bretonnians are particularly expensive. That it's not like you can just take another crack at it. So I'm trying to put a lot of thought into colors that I'm choosing, and I'm trying to take my time and enjoy the process, paint them to the best of my abilities, which are, I'm proud of them. I mean, there's people that paint better, but I want to be happy with them 5 years from now, not not just trying to get them on the table. So it's a project that I'm happy to take the time with. To kind of get it to the levels that I'm satisfied with. On these, try to bring it in a little closer. You can see here, I'm painting eyeballs, the teeth, trying to do a lot of shading. The flag was made by hand. It's a paper flag that I got that image off the internet in grayscale, so that I could paint it in as I wanted. Got the gemstone on the hilt of the sword. Again, eyeballs on the entire unit. Really pretty happy with how it all turned out. I'm not. I don't normally paint eyes on rank and file type units like this, but again, I'm trying to kind of do it to the best of my abilities. Again, also, man, this thing weighs a ton, being all metal, but they're all magnetized, so that they'll stay on there, which I kind of like. And then I did, since I handmade these trays, I used some MDF or hardboard, I think it's actually called, for the base of that tray. And so then I'm able to put those magnets on the bottom of it, and I can actually stick that, there's so much power on that, I can stick this onto the side of a refrigerator door, and it'll all the figures and everything stays on there. Did that for transportation purposes. So if I ever do by chance able to get a game in with these guys, I can transport them just in their movement trays. On these, I did use magnets on the bottom of the figure, and from Litco you can get flex steel sheets that I put in the base of my movement tray. And then I tried to make the tray just a little bit oversized room in there so that you don't have to force them in there, scrape the bases up, easy to move, remove casualties and without damaging things as much as possible. So anyway, I tried to, it's got the full command, so you got the standard bearer, musician, and the champion in the center. Gave him a slightly different shield pattern again, which you can obviously see. And he's always been one of my favorite miniatures from the Bretonnian line from back then. It's got that 100 Years War era type helmet. A lot of these are kind of 100 Years War type armor and weaponry, which I really kind of like, which kind of two birds, one stone for me on painting medievals and fantasy kind of together. You know, in a pinch, I could pull out a medieval set of rules and sword point or whatever, and I could use these miniatures again since they're individually based. I could put them in trays to be however the different rule systems want, and since these aren't so fantastical, you could use it in a historical game and not feel too crazy about it. So anyway, just wanted to do one quick shout out. I don't normally like to do shout outs because I feel like I'm going to leave somebody out, and there's so many great channels and so many, and probably some point I will do just a whole video just on some shout outs, some people that I think deserve a lot more recognition than they're getting, and I really enjoy their channels. But the one I wanted to just shout out tonight is if you are interested in this 4th, 5th edition type Oldhammer, Hero Hammer, Warhammer, Fantasy, whatever you want to call it. There's a gentleman, Joshua, has got a channel, and I think he's called it Crown of Command Podcast, which again, that's the name of his YouTube channel. Recently been changed from like Studio 9 or something like that, but I'll put a link down in the description. And his whole channel just focuses on 90s Games Workshop games, and he's highly focused on fantasy right now. He's doing some 4th and 5th edition type full battle reports. He's doing paint and chats, painting old 4th, 5th edition miniatures. He's been sharing his collection. He actually used to work in the painting studio for Games Workshop for, I think he said, like a year or something like that, or 8 months, something in the UK. And so he's got some interesting stories to tell there. So any old Hammer fans out there, you might enjoy seeing his channel. It's one that maybe you haven't run across, so I just thought I'd shout that out. So again, I won't take any more of your time. Thanks again for watching, and hope you got a little bit of enjoyment out of seeing what I'm doing here. So thanks again, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other.